Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. How's everybody doing today? All right. Just trying to make sure everything's set. Give me a few seconds. Let's see. Antioch. All right. Yeah, we are on. We're on live. All right. Thank you, God, for everybody being here. James, Brother James, I've been missing your words of encouragement, Brother James. I was asking about you. I ain't seen you. I asked Freddie to reach out to you. I ain't seen you, so I was just worried about you a little bit, but you're here. And Deacon Tony is here. And I go always, my brother over there. And Freddie, everybody's here. I want to first give God honor to God for waking us up today and giving us life. As always, I always say the same thing because we don't know the minute, hour, or a second that we'll be out of here. But I thank God for allowing us to be here just one more day. Today is Sunday, the September the 12th, right? September the 12th? September the 12th. And it's getting closer, like I said, it's getting closer to the holidays. We're all getting ready for gearing up for the holidays. And yesterday was a somber day, September 11th. For most of us, bless you. For a lot of us, we were in a whole different state on September 11th, 2001. If y'all remember those days, that day, I know I was still in the military and I was in Fort Hood, Texas, on the way to work when this stuff happened. Don't know where you were, but I'm glad I was not at the tower at the time. But I pray that all those souls that were lost, that they had time to be able to pray and even repent if they had to. But again, I thank God for allowing us to be here and giving us air and breath. Some of us, somebody that we probably know or don't know yet, might not get this pleasure of being here today. But again, I thank God for everybody, and I thank God for allowing us to be here. Again, welcome to Sunday School Hour. We're going to go ahead and pray in. Does anybody want to pray us in?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for another Sunday. We thank you for our health and our strength. We thank you for your mercy and your grace. We just ask you to continue to bless us as we go along this path. Give us the strength to keep on going. This way, in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank God. Thank you, Brother Freddie, for that. So we're going to continue on where we left off last week, where we were talking about how the two sons of a older man, one of his sons left and asked for his inheritance and ended up spending his inheritance all the way up, and by doing some crazy things once he left home. But then he returned. Asked his father for forgiveness and asked his father for even make him a servant, just to be able to come back home and get what he wanted out of life. And he repented. And where we're starting off now is how do we feel personally when one of your family members leave and then come back? The older brother was angry, as they say. He was angry at his father. He came from out of the field, and he came back out of the fields and asked the servant what was going on, and the servants were like, "Hey, we're having a party for your brother." And again, this is in Luke 15, 25 to 32. Luke 15, 25 to 32. Luke 15, 25 to 32. And I will go ahead and read 15 and 25 just to try to refresh everybody where we were. Meanwhile, the older son was in the fields working, and when he returned home, he heard the music and dancing in the house. Verse 26, and he asked the servants, what was going on? Just as you were. You come back and you don't know what's going on, and next thing you know, you hear all this party, and you go, I say, what's going on? They told him that his brother was back. That was in verse 27. He told him your brother's back. And immediately, you know, he could have felt like joyful, and he also could have felt, you know, upset. In this point, in this time, verse 27, it's saying that he was angry. We know he was angry. He was even mad because they had killed one of the fattened calves that they had been feeding and feeding and feeding. So they were, you know, they thought they were everybody was going to celebrate the safe return of his brother, but his older brother just felt he was angry. You know, that was in verse 28. It says the older brother was angry and wouldn't go in, and his father had to come out and beg him. His father had to come out and beg him. You know, how would you, again, I said this last week, how would you feel, you know, one of your family members came back and it felt like they were getting all the accolades? You know, how would you feel? You know, would that feel, you know, would it feel funny to you, or would you be upset about it? You know, how would you feel? Anybody? You don't have to say you're going to feel resentment, but how would you feel knowing that you've been in the fields working this whole time? You didn't spend your inheritance like your brother did. You didn't go out here and splurge and do whatever you had to do. How would you feel? Would you feel betrayed a little?
Yeah, I think I would feel a little bit like the older brother. Because my life was similar to this. My dad lost his, he could see but not well enough to drive, so I had to drive him a lot of places. When he was still on the farm, I had to go down on the farm, work in tobacco with him. And, I got paid, but you know, some days I didn't want to go down on the farm. So, and I didn't have a brother, but if I had one like this, I would be kind of
Envy?
yeah,
You're kind of envious?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy to do everything, and you all
Come back.
Yeah.
He come back. He was doing everything. He come back and he's like he's all over it. Everybody's, you know, loving him and throwing a party for him, celebration. You know, they ready to party. You know, it's not that I don't think that we get jealous of our siblings. It's just that little. You know, we still have the world in us. You know, and we feel like, dang, you know, I've been doing all this, and now you're back and you're getting all the accolades.
Yeah.
You know, so I understand that as well. But like I said in verse 28, he says the older brother was angry. He wouldn't go in. He wouldn't even go in. He didn't even want to go in. You have something? Go ahead. Brother Leroy, he when he smiles, he takes his mask down. I already know what's going on. He ready to speak. He ready to speak. But you know, go ahead.
Well, we are studying on the prodigal son. The youngest son said, I want my part of the lot. So dad said, okay, so the son go out and blow his money in. And he was eating in the pen with the hogs and everything. And he said to himself, why should I be suffering like this when my father got a mansion over here? So he turned to come back home. And this happens in life. We go out and blow what we have, and we come back to our security.
Right.
That's his oldest brother, his brother that has stayed there and continued to work. And then when he come out of the field, he asked the other people, well, what's going on? You got music and food cooking and everything? He said, yeah, your dad is celebrating because your young brother came back home. Well, the first thing that happened to the oldest brother that had stayed there and labored in the field, he was resentful. He was jealous. For one, his father had kept the biggest calf that they had for special occasions. And he gets back to him. He's going to give my brother the biggest calf, and he wouldn't even give me a goat. He said, I'm ready to my friend.
Right.
Got more jealousy.
Right.
So I think it was more jealousy than it was anger.
Okay.
And he didn't even say, my brother is home. He said, your son is on.
Mm-hmm.
So he was throwing that spite. And that's normally what happens when a person is jealous.
Mm-hmm.
People become jealous, so let jealousy rule them.
Right.
They speak before they think,
Mm-hmm.
and they become very
And,
impatient.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I agree. And then verse 29, it said, Hales, but he replied, all these years I have slaved for you, Father. All these years. And I did all these things for you, Father, and never once refused to do a single thing. But yet, my brother comes home and you give him a feast. You know, what we're going to talk about this week is how do we get past the anger and bitterness and jealousy? How do we get past the anger and bitterness? You know, that's what we're reaching for right now. But you know, the father had came back to him and told him in verse 31. What did he say, Tony, in verse 31? It's right here too, so you got it.
His father said to him, look, dear son, you always stay by me. Everything I have is yours.
So what did he mean by everything I have is yours? What do y'all think he meant by that? Anybody? What do you think he meant by
Him being the older brother, if he
Everything.
died, everything would go to the older brother.
Mhm.
Even the younger brother.
And he was pretty much saying to him that if anytime he wanted his inheritance, he could have got it too.
Mhm.
But you like say, the shift of focus killed a lot of us, you know. When we not not in the spotlight, a lot of us just can't handle it.
Mhm.
And we get upset and jealous and angry because we're not the main, everybody's eyes are not on us.
But this not only happens, like I said, this does not only happen in families, this happens in the world. You know, just in sports. Everybody gets jealous. Work.
Business, church especially. So,
Well, he get to do everything. You know, he get to go up there and collect the tithes. Why don't he call somebody else? You know, it happens like that. It does really happen like that. You know, like I said, I'm grateful for Antioch. we don't have too many things like that going on where everybody's well in the forefront. I can say that in the forefront where everybody's saying somebody's jealous of one another. But yeah, it does happen in the church as well. But he told him, he said, everything I have is yours. And you know, but his point to his son was, we have to celebrate because your brother, my son, was dead in the eyes of the beholder. But then he asked for forgiveness and he repented and he's back alive again. That's what his father was really trying to resonate to his brother, to the older brother, to his older son, is that his mind, his soul was dead. You know? This is why I'm celebrating, not because he really just came back, but he repented. And that, you know, now his as we say, we out here seeking what? The lost, the what?
least lost and left out.
And his father told him, he said in verse 32, he said, he was lost. He was lost. But now he's found. He's back. You know, don't be so hard on yourself, son. Again, everything I have is yours. You know, let's just celebrate.
On one point I was going to make too, I guess the older brother felt the younger brother didn't deserve it, but the older brother didn't deserve it neither. It's just gifts that the father was giving to him. Mm-hmm. And it reminded me of a parable when they talked about when Jesus gave a parable of all the workers who come to the boss, and he agreed to a certain amount for each one. Some come in the morning, some come in the afternoon, some come in the evening. The ones that came earlier that morning got mad because the ones that came the later evening got the same pay. Remember, he told them that it don't matter when you come in, it's what we agreed upon.
Right, right.
And that's just sort of a similar situation here.
Yeah.
Worrying about, how much time we put in or whether we worthy or not. And if we look back on everything, none of us are really worthy. It's the gifts God gives to us.
Right.
The blessings God gives to us.
Right. And all of us, I mean, we're not all of us, but none of us are promised inheritance anyway. But even though it says that we should leave an inheritance for our offspring, it doesn't say that, it's guaranteed to me. It's not guaranteed to you.
But see, the oldest brother that stayed on the farm and worked, he's gonna get double return. Because see, the youngest brother already got his.
He got his, right?
And so rather than him rejoicing that at least his brother has seen the light and came back from it. But he stayed there because see, he gonna get his part and that's what his father is trying to tell him. Everything I own is yours. So I mean, he gonna get his part and his father's part. And that's normally what happened in life. But then normally, I remember that when I joined church, October the 21st, 1953, Pleasant Green Baptist Church under Pastor John. Before I got ready to go into the water, the first thing that came to my mind, should I do this or not? I'm going to lose all of my friends. So I wasn't shaking in the cold water. I was like, I lost all of my friends. I couldn't run because, man, the pastor had my hand on my neck. And that's normal, but normally that we don't understand, or we don't relax. We want that immediate
Gratification.
results, right?
Yeah. But we have to learn that just because what we don't see right now is not the end.
Right.
It is not the end. God promised to us that we have everlasting life, right? So just because we don't see it right now, don't mean that's the final cut. That's the final cut of this movie. Your movie is still everlasting. Once you leave here, the thing is, once you leave here, your legacy will always be there.
Another thing I got to listen to, that it doesn't matter if you're getting recognition or accolades or not, and you're doing God's work, just keep doing God's work. If no one else knows it, He notices. And if we just keep on doing what we're good at doing and helping out, like you said, in the long run, He will reward all of us. But don't be concerned about what man praises, but be concerned about we pleasing God.
Right.
And not worry about being on the main focus, because being the main focus is not always good. A lot of times it can hurt you in a lot of situations.
Yeah. Well, that's because he's trying to be in everybody. Some people want to be in the forefront. You just look at some of the football, or even basketball with LeBron. He always tries to throw his teammates, gratification before him, and that's why he doesn't want to be that, forefront. Even though we know that he is in the forefront, he tries to push it off and tries to push everybody else to be able to get that gratitude. And look what he did, and that's a good thing for us to do, even in church. There's no reason to be mad at one another and to be angry towards one another. We all here for one reason, and that's we all trying to get to heaven, right? We all trying to do what's right and do our best within God's eyes. But that's why, like I said, your movie is not over. Continue doing good in God's eyes, and when we get angry, and we're going to get into where when he's angry, he's still angry. He's still angry, but it's just how do you categorize the older brother now. We can categorize him as somebody who's being a whiner, right? That whines. He was whining because his brother came home and he wasn't happy. We can categorize that as people that's been long-standing members at church. You know, so they see young men come in and I know he ain't about to come up here and think he running the church. You know, who is he? You know, it happens. You know, it really does happen. You know, it's the older generation. His older brother represented the older generation of people, right? And then also it makes other people that's in current positions. Okay, for instance, a new deacon comes in, and he tries to take over Tony's role. He tries to be in the forefront. Well, you know, Tony, the truth, how would you feel if somebody did that?
Well, the world in me would be upset and angry, but spiritually, hopefully I'll be mature enough to understand that it's going to help the church overall, and it's going to help me overall. Because it's like you said, the work is a few, but the work is it's a whole lot. It's too much for one person to do. Or like anybody, pastoring, deacon, ushering, like say, we all have a place in God's house and work to do. So if we realize the bigger picture, that's the thing we all need to look at. It could help each other out.
Right.
Overall.
Right. See, the thing is, like he said, the first thing in his first forethought is the worldly me. I know he ain't about to come over here and try to take over. It's the worldly me. But not knowing that God has sent him there to help you. You know, God sent him there to take some of the pressure off of you. But you're not knowing that at the beginning of this because the worldly me, the worldly me is out. And just like, you know, he still felt that his father was being unfair to him. We have been there where all of us, not just one of us in here, has always felt that somebody got something over us because of a certain reason. Let me break that down even further. I didn't get this promotion because this new guy just got here and he got promoted over me and I've been here the longest. Why didn't I get promoted? You know? We've been there. We've seen it. And most of us always base it, you know, base it on color. We do. A lot of us based it on color. Now, how many times, and I know we've been back here in the back for Sunday school with the men, and we have talked about y'all growing up here in Lexington, Kentucky, and seeing the stuff that was going on and people mistreating you guys, and I heard and felt the pain of you guys talking to me and, you know, giving me insight on this is how Lexington used to be. We didn't get to do nothing. We didn't get to do these things. You know, the talks that we had back there, you know, those sentimental talks that we talked. And Brother Taste, you don't understand, you know, this is what was going on here back in these days. And we wasn't allowed to do this. We was walking into a store and this and that, this happened. We couldn't get this and that, you know. But y'all got past it. You know, you got past it. And look where you are now. Because you could have fought against it. And I know you wanted to fight against a lot of it. But look at you. You're here. Successful black men attending Antioch Missionary Baptist Church, and you're here. And there were some things that went on back then that I know it had to be hard to even walk through and sit through, you know, not being able to go into the candy stand because why? Because you were African American, you know? I heard y'all talk. Y'all probably don't think I remember all those talks, but I remember all of those talks. So those resonate in my heart because I'm like, man, I don't even know if I could have even went through that. But y'all made it better for me.
Well, we was talking, I was been in Saturday section back there, but we were talking about our own home, like, but what people failed to understand, newcomers or whatever, they was confronting the same thing, whether it was in Dayton, Chicago, or New York.
Yeah.
They still doing the same thing.
Now, Mm-hmm.
We had, well,
You good? Oh, you good? Okay.
You know, working in the film field, you see a lot of this. My daughter's ex-wife worked with a family,
Mm-hmm.
taking care of their mother, their aunt. The nephew lived with this woman, but he couldn't take care of her because he was drunk. He couldn't take care of himself.
Mm-hmm.
So they spent up all of the woman's money hiring somebody to take care of her because, well, the daughter lived out of town and she couldn't give up her job to come back here when the nephew was living with her. So they, you know, they were getting mad at him because he's drunk and can't take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to hire a nurse around the clock. And that's how, you know, my ex-wife, she would take a shift. One of my daughters would take a shift. My granddaughter would take a shift. And like I said, finally she ran out of money.
Mm-hmm.
So, the daughter that was out of town had to give up her job and come back. The nephew was still there, drunk,
Right.
and that created, you know, strife between the daughter and the cousin.
And the cousins. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, I know that had to cause some bitterness,
Yeah.
you know, and it had to. Me having to stop what I was doing right here, come back home to take care, you know, of a family member, and I know it had to cause some bitterness. And even in the older brother's case, right? He was bitter, right?
Yeah, business, like I say, just come from jealousy, and as Christians, we realize that being part of God's family and jealousy just don't mix.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to overcome that earthly feeling if we're going to be part of God's kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, he angry at his brother. Like I said, but as we realize, both of them don't deserve anything. It's just the goodness of the Father if he wants to give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not entitled to, and a lot of people in church, we feel like we're entitled to a lot of things. We're not entitled to nothing. These are gifts from God.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we got to look at, once again, look at the big picture.
Right.
And realize that it's just an angry spirit or earthly or worldly spirit that we all have and we have to overcome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, the angry spirit. You've been angry on several occasions. I have. You have. In this brother's case, as the brother, what could he have done better to not be so bitter? I mean, what could his thoughts could have been?
Well, he could at least just come to his brother and say, glad you're home.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't even feel like it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But be man enough, you know, have enough love for him at least to welcome him home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, Ephesians 4:31 says, get rid of all the bitterness. Get rid of all the bitterness, the rage, the anger towards, you know, one another. We need to stop, you know, being so bitter and angry. But we are worldly people, though, right? We're going to get angry. We're going to get bitter. But we're supposed to have cleansed our spirits. You know, we have to have a clean heart, right?
But to get rid of that bitterness, you have to want to get rid of it. If your attitude is not wanting to get rid of it or trying to alleviate it, it won't go away.
So you gotta wanna get rid of it, right? That's what you're saying? You gotta wanna get rid of it? Well, yeah. You gotta wanna get rid of
The
it.
main way that brother could have responded to the older brother, the one that stayed, worked with his father, think positive.
Right.
And then he would have said, he would have rejoiced, well, look, my youngest brother, son, he should have ran up and kissed his brother too, and hugged him. And now, some of this is thinking for himself. Some, I can share more of the leadership work on this place with him. So my job is going to be
Easier.
and he blew his part, but I'm going to, if the odds are if something happened to my dad, I'm going to get my dad's part.
And mine.
And mine.
Right, right. Go ahead.
He's still waiting.
Yeah,
for,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But that is normally what happened with impatient attitude and selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
And we had it involved in our church. You know, some people say, well, I can't go to that church. That's a little old church. Oh, that, no. They don't even want to call the church name.
Mm-hmm.
But they, oh yeah, we up here, and, you know.
Y'all down there.
Envious,
Mm-hmm.
self-centered,
Mm-hmm.
because only by the grace of God you have that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a blessing for us to just be able to fuel our church here right now.
Mm-hmm.
To come in to his house with devotion and love in our heart. Because this is God's house.
Right. Right.
And anytime you can be in his personal presence, it's a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's a blessing.
Yeah. Brother James?
Maybe we could have done two things. First of all, as Leroy said, he was impatient,
Mm-hmm.
and he should have taken time to assess the situation. And the second thing was he missed the bigger picture, which was his father's happiness
Mm-hmm.
for not, I would necessarily, I was going to say retrieve, not retrieve, but welcome back and have back a son that he thought was lost.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the son repented
Mm-hmm.
and told his father that I was wrong and I
Yeah.
did wrong and I'm back and I'm trying to make it right.
Right. Yeah.
He was trying to do the godly thing.
Thing. Yeah. 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 And again, you know, what was going on then is still happening now today in the world. And that's, you know, we still haven't learned from that. A lot of us still haven't learned from it. How many times have you heard on the news of brothers killing brothers? You know? We still ain't learned from it. Brothers killing brothers or sisters killing sisters. We still haven't learned from it.
Children killing parents.
Oh, children killing parents? Yeah.
It happens, but it normally comes down to one is jealous.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is being impatient. And the other one is resentment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's almost, I've seen people, I've heard of people, yes, I've seen it. One person buy something that the other person wants, but they don't want it bad enough, so they haven't made preparation to get it,
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't make one. But in our churches, we have jealousy.
Right.
I could talk about some personal experience that just coming out of my house. Some of my neighbors. You know, I wasn't even going to church.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. You know, the first thing we get, you know, our neighbors and some of our family members.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Look at him. Look at him. He got his shirt and tie on. He about to go to church.
Yeah.
You think he's uppity. He think he's more than I am. You know, it's like that. Though. You know, it is really like that. You know, you're like, dude, I'm just trying to serve God. You know, I'm just trying to do what I can. While you're sitting here talking about me like I'm a dog and I ain't did nothing to you, I'm just going to church. I don't think that I'm uppity. I don't think I'm better than y'all. I'm just living for Christ. You know? And just like you said earlier, how you said, but right before you got baptized, your thoughts went right back to, I'm going to lose all my friends. You know? And it happens. Yeah, right. And just like you said, you couldn't even get away because the pastor already had you by the neck, so you weren't running nowhere. You wasn't running nowhere. But, you know, to keep going, his father had to beg him to go in. He had to beg him to go in. And he still refused. He still refused. That's a lot of anger and bitterness where my brother just came home. My father's throwing a party for him, and I'm refusing to go in because I'm bitter. So, we talked about it earlier. We all have bitterness in us, right? Our sisters and brothers, we had some part of us was bitter at some times. Why? I'm the only one getting whooping all the time. I'm the only one getting a whooping all the time.
You're the only one getting caught.
Yes, that was it. Hey, yeah.
To be like my father, I'm from a large family, and my brother Ernest or Clyde or one of the others do something wrong, and he always want to whoop me at night because it's when you're in bed and you can't run.
You can't run, right?
So, well, he said, well, I'm gonna whoop you too, Leroy. Well, wait a minute, Dad, I didn't do nothing. No, yeah, you did something, I just didn't catch it. While I'm in the mood, I get up. I laugh at it, dog. It wasn't fair, but it was true. There's many things that we do it, even as professed Christian, and nobody gonna know it. Maybe you went to the grocery store and you gave the girl a $5 bill and she gave you the change back as if you gave her a 10. Stop right there. You realize, but she didn't realize it. She'll realize when she count her funds for the end of the day. So the good thing, we just go ahead and I think you made a mistake there. But quite often, some people will, but some people will not because they think they're getting over on the owner, which make the price of the merchandise go up for everybody.
Right. Go ahead, Tom.
As we kind of wrap up, we realize that bitter people are always concerned over their own goodness at the cost of other people, and that's sad, though. But if you realize, though, that this is just a earthly and a worldly type feeling that as Christians that we can learn to get over this. And just like you said, like Brother Leroy was talking about, a positive attitude. We can overcome a lot of these things by realizing that that's part of us, and it's in all of us, you know.
Yeah.
And if we don't get control of it, we get way out of hand, as we know. And they just talked about example here, it spreads like wildfire. It can,
Yeah.
and it will if you don't put a hold on it, put it to stop.
I couldn't wait to get to this part because I want to make y'all laugh a little bit. Let's think of two places that bitterness can travel real fast. Bitterness can travel real fast and spread real fast. Two places. What do y'all think?
For one, I think of like funerals or something like that. Could be one place.
Okay, funerals. Where do y'all think bitterness can go just spread like wildfire, like quick?
You have someone who dies in a family and there's an inheritance involved.
Yeah, inheritances. Yeah. So what about at church?
Oh, that's a gift.
It spread like wildfire, you know. Oh, did you see? Hey, did y'all hear about? Did you know when he? Next thing you know, everybody in the church talking about it, right? Everybody in the church talking about it.
A good example is that we have one of our annual days, you know, whether men, women, or whatever, children, you know, something will happen and somebody get or one more recognition than the other, and then it starts, you know.
And, you know, church, and the next place is at work. Oh, you know, he just got promoted. Oh, you know what? She just got promoted. Oh, you know what she's doing. And she ain't doing nothing, but she getting blamed, and or he getting blamed for something that work and church. Stuff can spread like wildfire, church and work.
I know at the hospital, I was a good worker, and the nurse that I worked with, she liked me, and she recognized the work that I did, and she would put me in for, they have a bonus that they would give you.
At the end of the year, yeah.
Yeah, and I would get the bonus, and some of the others would, oh, why is Freddie always get this? Why he? Well, I'm working harder than they are. They taking a smoke break every 30 minutes, and I continue to work. And I go to other people's room, do their patients, you know, sit and talk to them. Sometimes. That's all they wanted. While they out on a smoke break. So I earned it, but the people that didn't get it didn't see that I earned it.
That you earned it, right, right.
Yeah, because I got it.
Yeah. But that's like I said, the church and the workplace. And just like Brother James said, that's a given. The church is a given. Bitterness is just gonna go right through. Did you see what minister he did? Did you see what Deacon did? Or did you see what Brother Color did? You know, I can't believe he did that. What did I do? You just heard a rumor that I didn't even do something, and I'm guilty of something that, you know. And you know what? You even said it best, Brother Leroy, when you said that the brother didn't even recognize him as my brother. He said, "Your son, this son of yours."
He was, that was his anger had jumped in that man. So, he didn't say my little brother and came back home and and it's the same thing with we as Christians. Like I said about my fear when I was a child of being baptized that Sunday night. Oh my goodness, all my friends are leaving. And believe it or not, I'm the one of the group that left them because I was in service.
You know, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. You know how they say misery loves company? Misery loves company, and bitter people hang around bitter people. You know, why hang around them? You know, why hang around bitter people? If you see somebody bitter, I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna pray for you. I'm gonna, you know, laugh. I'll pray for you. We're gonna pray that everything's gonna be all right. You know, but you know, I look forward, and we're ending right now. We have to learn to stop being so bitter. The angry and bitterness, and that carries to your grave. Angry bitterness will carry you to your grave, and we don't need it. And even marriage, you know, hanging on to bitterness, you know, angry, that destroys marriages. You know, just hanging on to something. You know, yeah, we didn't say you to be stupid, but you can learn to forgive together in Christ and under Christ. But we have to stop being so bitter towards one another. You know?
You know, and there's one thing, well, many things, but one thing right now that drives me nuts, and it shouldn't, is the people that will walk out in the street. Now, you got sidewalks, people, you know, marched and complained to get sidewalks in the neighborhood. And you got these fools walking out in the street like they're a car. I want to run over.
Yeah, well, but then they get angry at us, though. They get angry. You know, they get mad at us. Okay, Brother Lee, what you? Oh, okay. Oh, well, yeah, they do. People walk out in the middle of the street, you blow your horn. I get it. I get it.
They
Yeah.
look at you like you wrong.
Yeah.
Well, you know, that's the same thing in regards to people running in the street.
Yeah.
You know, now, not only even though they have a running path, out the carbon monoxide. And you running, you are breathing harder, so you pumping more of the drugs or the chemicals in your body.
Right,
You know,
right.
you be better off being in a Jordan brand and smoking on a cigarette.
All right.
I used to didn't smoke.
Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and end that to the end today on a high note. Thank God for everybody being here again and being blessed to see each other. Any of you want to press out? John, or I came up.
As